Hello, everyone. Welcome to Elevate Your Brand. My name is Laura Harstead, and I am your go-to virtual headshot and brand photographer. And I'm so excited. We have a special guest joining us today, Christine Campbell Rapin. And I just want to tell you a little bit about her. Christine is a business mentor and consultant. As the owner of Clear Acceleration Inc., she has a no-nonsense approach to helping business owners achieve consistent client growth by improving client conversion rates. Creative service-based business owners seek her out to create consistently profitable businesses by implementing proven marketing and business strategies and scale to multiple six figures. And I've really enjoyed getting to know Christine. I know you're going to learn a lot today from her. So welcome, Christine. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you so much for the invitation. It is an absolute pleasure to be here today to help demystify that giant conversation. How do we actually find clients? Anybody else relate to that? Like, why is this so hard? Well, hopefully we're going to give you a roadmap. And here's the truth. I believe that business is elegantly simple. And I think that the whole world out there is trying to convince you it's way more complicated than it is. And so hopefully this is going to be hugely valuable to show you what actually you need to focus on to go from really fractured to focused. And here's why I know it works. And I'm going to just ask you to take a leap of faith with me. So my background's quite unique because in the world of corporate, I've worked in 9 unrelated industries. I was successful in marketing, sales, and operations, all at strategically senior levels. So I know how to pull the pieces together, and that's often where the big struggles happen. I think I'm doing the right things, but it's not working. Well, that background has led to me helping more than 400 clients create $1 billion in revenue. And it is going to be about what did they do or not do to create consistent results. And what most of us don't realize when we start our business is this simple truth that nobody's talking about. Your business will be built on strangers. So you've got to have a plan to go make some friends with strangers. And I know all of you went, God, no, please don't make me do that. I just want to post on social media or have cute graphics. Well, here's the truth. Nobody's going to choose you for that. And if that's all it would take, you would already have the business of your dreams. It takes more than that, but it doesn't have to mean that it is complicated. Here's what I want you to do from note number 1. Just take it on Christine's faith. 2 things will predict your revenue in the next 90 days. Only 2. So these are the 2 things you need to be really dialed into. Number 1 is how many people you're meeting. That's the go make friends with strangers piece. And how many offers are you actually making? And I mean clear offers that you led with a number and a ask. Most businesses grows over 90 days. So if you are celebrating an awesome end of Q1, it's because of most of the work that you did last quarter. Most of the work that you spent the last 30, 60, 90 days is going to come through before summer. And so I'm hoping to inspire you to say, keep in the game, because if you don't, what will happen is you're going to reach June. And I see it all the time with my peers. It's not really where I wanted to be, so I'm going to take the summer off. Because no business happens in the summer. I have my best months in December and my best months in the summer. Why? Because I stayed in the game. I didn't need to work 100 hours a week, nor do you. But you do need to stay in movement. And that's my whole philosophy in terms of when I'm mentoring. I said, get into the movements, make them non-negotiable, because the movement is what will build the momentum in your business, because you don't know when your client will say yes, which is why you have to have a big audience to be moving towards you that asks you these beautiful questions, this beautiful ask. I got it this morning at 7:15 in the morning. Tell me what it's like to work with you. That's the goal line we're shooting for right now. This is the roadmap that's going to help you get there. Once you understand that 2 things are predicting revenue, and it's a really essential time to check your barometer. Am I focused or am I busy? Because honestly, cute graphics and a great landing page are not going to be the difference makers. They might be the execution piece, but they're not the difference makers. This is the difference maker. The first piece of the puzzle, there's 3 non-negotiables. This is what every business needs to have foundationally in order to create consistent revenue, consistent profit, consistent client growth, and if you want to scale to multiple 6 figures. The first piece is the giant mystery. How do I actually find clients? Where's the audience? And most people will tell you how to convert once you have already built it. But nobody's telling you how to build it, except for now. This is going to be so valuable. Audience building is the most important piece of anything you do, whether you build your business 1 hour a day, as I did in my first business, or you commit full time to this. The reason you see inconsistency is because you fundamentally are not audience building. Because if you don't have consistent client growth, one of 3 things is happening, and I want you to own in the chat which one reflects you. Number 1, I don't know how to build client growth. That's number 1. You don't know how. Number 2 is I know how and I'm doing it, but it's not leading to the results I want consistently, predictably. So something is off, but I think I know what I'm doing. I think I've got a plan and I'm executing it pretty disciplinedly. It's not leading. Are you number 2? Or you number 3, I know what to do. I'm just not doing it. I will tell you all 3 things are solvable. That's the great news. But knowing where your gap is essential. You need to get honest. Because number 1 is a how question. That's a lazy excuse. I'm going to call you now. I'm going to be mean. It's a lazy excuse because how is a knowledge question, and knowledge is everywhere. I'm going to give you the answer to how. So put down the excuse and listen up. Number 2 is there's something off with the 3 foundations that I'm going to tell you about. You've got to help solve that, because doing more of it isn't going to get you where you want to go. It's just going to get you exhausted and overwhelmed. Number 3 is if you know how, you're not doing it, your why isn't big enough because you're waiting for somebody else to save you. You have to be the engine. You can choose any speed you like to grow your business, but you have to be the initiator. You do not have to go solo, but you must take the action. And the right actions make all the difference. So here's what you need to focus on. Smartest business 101 tip is to go where the audience is already seeking and investing money and turn the audience towards you. It's the fastest path to cash. You can create your own audience, but it is a longer runway and you need more effort and more money to be successful. Most solopreneurs don't have that runway. So take the shortcut, which is go to the audience that is already seeking and turn the awareness towards you. And what's key about doing that is a recognition that you've got to always build your visibility. And that doesn't necessarily mean social media, but it does mean intentional visibility strategies where you're positioning yourself as, hi, I'm here. This is what I do, and this is the result I help guide you to. But it's also recognizing in this audience piece that there's 3 lanes of traffic. You as a business owner need to develop the skills to identify who do you want to talk to and what lane is the other person in. The slow lane is the lane that says, I know there's a problem. I like your stuff, but I don't see it as relevant to me today. And if you spend all your time in the slow lane, you need a really long runway or you'll go broke. Because you're convincing and you're educating and you're the likable expert. You're not the must-hire expert today. See the difference? The middle lane is someone who says, I know I have a problem and I'm a human. So I repeat it over and over again because I'm a human and I keep having the same patterns. And anytime that I'm in the crisis moment of that problem, I white knuckle the solution. I band-aid it. I think, it's terrible, but I'll just get through this. And then there's a period of quiet. And then guess what? I trip over the same problem. If you can connect to somebody in the middle lane and you say, that bruise looks painful. I've seen this pattern. Do you know that you're in a pattern? And would you like to get out of the pattern? Because I might be able to help you with that. And then might go, in the right moment, yes, I need help because this is painful. And tell me what it is you do again, because I kind of have a vague idea, but I'm not really sure I know. Most of your audience is in this space. So you've got to be visible consistently in this lane and recognize and invite and maybe make the offer. The offer to help, not necessarily to sell your services, but the offer to help, be a guide. The fast lane is somebody, I know I have a problem. I have a budget for it. I have a short list of candidates and I'm deciding because I got to get out of my own way. They're the unicorns. They happen, but you can't bank on them. That's often where referral business comes from because they've already got a problem. Somebody's recommended you and they're like, oh, well, you're a safer bet. But your messaging in each of these lanes is very different. And your audience building strategy is very different. And your timeline to money is different. But you've got to get in front of the audience that's out there. I'd encourage you to think middle or fast lane and say, what do I need to say to be credible, to be viewed as capable, likable, and the must hire? It's hard to do this by yourself, but that is the goal line. I tell my clients, whether you're a solopreneur, whether you're a multi-million-dollar business, the fact that you don't consistently audience build is why you have inconsistent income. 50% of your time, if you're an established business, still needs to be on this. They don't. That's why they have peaks and valleys. If you're an emerging entrepreneur without that real stable of audience yet, 70% or more of your day, which means scrap everything else like the cute graphics or the rewrite of your copy because it's not the thing. Conversation is the thing that's going to move your business. So get into them and get visible. Go make some friends with strangers. And I personally, in my business, because I work with service-based creatives, and I work with them long-term to help build these three foundations, consistently know how to think and recreate it over and over and over again. I think what's really important is to recognize and go, what do I do in the audience piece? I like speaking, networking, and events because they're all accelerators because they're experiential. You're going to know whether I'm bullshitting, sorry, language. You're going to be able to observe, am I credible? You're going to know whether you're going to like the straight talk or not. And you're going to be able to identify, I'm in the right room. And I might stay here a while because there's something that's connecting. Or you're going to leave, and that's okay. But the right people will move from the back of the audience to the middle, to the front of the audience, based on what lane of traffic they're moving and how well I'm being visible, showing up with action, and making the invitations. So audience building is pillar number one, non-negotiable. All the time, 50 to 70% of your time, scrap all the busy work. You don't get paid to be in the meeting if you don't create movement that leads to a conversation that could be an identifier for what lane are you in, and maybe someone who's an offer to something, collaboration, potential client work, introductions, what have you. The second pillar, which is the one that addresses client number two, where I said, I know what I'm doing and I'm doing it and it's not really working, is the messaging piece is off, or you're not building enough audience. And the messaging piece is this. This is the classic mistake business owners make. I described the problem and say, do you need it? There's a problem. Often the language is off and nobody likes to feel called out by being described. Because I really don't want to put my hand up and say, I think that's me, especially in a public setting. That's why 99% of my clients have never engaged in my social media. They've all listened, watched, seen it, but never engaged. They're in the back of the room, moving themselves to the front of the room without me even being aware of it. I show up visibly because I know they need the guidance. What are you doing to do the same in your business? But if you stop describing, what else do? You need to talk to where your client is, which is in the dark, without the same language that you have because you're in the space of light. So I say cannonball into the deep end of where your client's in the dark and sit with them, listen to them. What is the conversation that happens around the kitchen table? The glass of wine with the girlfriends, at this kids' sports arena, depending on who your audience is. What is their pain? And when have they done their own BS? How do you connect to them in the darkness and say, I'm in the dark with you? And staying in the dark is optional. I will leave footprints in the sand, make invitations to show you how to move out of the darkness when you're ready. That middle lane is the one who's moving, not the one who's happy going, I love the dark. Please stop talking to them in expecting them to move because you're in the slow lane. But the ones who say I'm done and I need some help and tell me what it is you do is the invitation to start moving. Scientifically, we're wired that if we can buy into something 5 times, we will automatically start to affirm the 6th invitation. So you're nurturing conversations, content, storytelling, all these things, so that they go, I believe you're credible, I believe you're capable, and I kind of like your sense of humor. I trust you to know the how. Here's the result I want. Can you help me get there? Because anybody who invests with you already has decided you're capable. Stop trying to tell them you're capable. What they want to do instead is they borrow your confidence to say, help me get the result I want. Do you know what the result is that they're seeking? Go spend more time in the dark if you don't. And not having the result, what does it cost them? You need to connect to that and offer hope to get to the other side. Consistently, visibly, in a way, style, format that feels right for you. There's not one way to build a business. The gurus have got it wrong. Stop listening. There's not one way. There's multiple ways, but you need these 3 foundations, regardless which way you go. So you built your audience. You're now talking to them, connecting to them, and saying, I see you, and having the courage to be seen too. In that which place you lead to the offer, which is, how do we get the result we want? And when I say how, I don't mean it's 3 sessions twice a week and it looks like this. I don't mean the nuts and bolts, because honestly, that's not the deciding factor. It actually is the thing that will talk somebody out, because they get overwhelmed and go, oh, that's way too much. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. You're never ready. Here's the clue. What's really important is ask the question, why am I the right guide for you? What is the result you want? Where do you want to start? If you know that and you ask it and talk about it and you feel like you can help, you simply need to show up as a good human being and maybe do it not great and messy. They don't care, but make the offer. If you do not have confidence that you can get them result, be the right guide, and you're not the right person, please, in integrity, don't. Pass it to someone else who's in a better position to help serve them. And then ask the question and remind them, what does it cost you to stay where you are? I'm ready, are you? Here's how we begin. First step is this. And all they need to see is the first step, because they already trust that you know the 7, 8, 9, and 10. And they do that because you've messaged it, you've been visible about it, and you simply own the humanness that you are. But if you can do these 3 things, build an audience, get your message right, and you can make an offer, and you get known for one thing. What is it that you do? I help you get the result. In my case, just to give you an example, I help people get clients consistently. What do 90% of my clients come to me for? I help you figure out what room to get in, and then what do I say? So I'm making sure I'm not talking 2 different languages. And I've had to make that adjustment, because I said, I don't view myself as marketing. They're like, yeah, but I see you as marketing, because I don't know what to say. And I said, well, are you saying anything? The answer is usually no. So well, let's start by saying something and figure out what's connecting. And ask yourself, pretend you're 2. Essentially, I told you business is elegantly simple. Pretend you're 2. Anytime that you start thinking, do I want to be in that room? Do I want to say that? Do I want to share that story? I want you to ask, so what? Visibility isn't about grandstanding because you want to hear yourself talk. It's actually about being the human that's connecting to somebody in a darkness. What do they need to hear? Why does that matter? And you need to lead. Self-leadership is the connecting piece. So I sit with my clients as a thinking partner and say, why does that matter? Sounds good, but is it true? Is that really at the heart of what you do to get the result? You're looking for a nano or a major win. Like, I want client growth. Your client's like, I would satisfy with somebody calling me to ask me about my services. Okay, well, we'll start there. But I want them to call you often, and you don't hunt for them. Because I have a reminder to myself, I have a post-it notes right there on my desk, and it says this beautiful piece of advice, will be my final thing to share with you, is stop looking for clients, hunting for clients, closing deals. All of that's crap. It's awful. I hate it. I don't chase the sale ever. If I'm doing 3 things in my business takes care of itself, because I'm audience building, messaging, and I know the right offers will be made. And it's when someone says, tell me what you think, like your opinion on this, and I got your name from somebody. I feel good about showing up with those 3 things. Those are my measures of success. I know if I do them well, offers get made, because I have a post-it note that reminds me, I don't look for clients. I look for problems to solve, people I can support, and ways I can contribute. And that's the human connection that the business is built around. And so if I remind myself, show up, be visible, be human, sharing the movement as non-negotiable, momentum is there. It takes care of itself. And business is elegantly simple. This is what the roadmap looks like to create it in your business. I hope that's helpful.
This was fantastic. Thank you so much, Christine. I have so many notes. I especially love what you said at the end. I don't look for clients. I look for problems to solve and ways to support people.
And how I can contribute. Yeah.
I just love this focus from the very beginning, make friends with strangers. And what a joyful way to do business, make friends, support, see how you can help.
And that's it. Like call it Pollyanna if you want. The world needs more human. And especially in the world with AI, and I know what you do, and people saying, there'll be no photography, there'll be no this, there'll be no this. And we're constantly thinking we're talking ourselves out of a job. And I said, I want you to shift all of that thinking. How can you create value in an AI world? You create value by being a human, simply by breathing. You have a purpose, you have a destiny. Everything you have is enough. But you've got to own that. And you know what that is? I always say to my clients, 3 things. You get clear. First off, that's why my business is Clear Acceleration. Get clear. Become the must-hire choice for a small group of people who see you as awesome sauce. I say, I actually am so done with the rest of the BS and the perfect and the varnish. I don't want that. You feel real to me, and I believe you're credible to get me where I want to go. Can you help? You show up as a good human and you will see the result. That's it. Wouldn't it be amazing if that was your experience? It can be. Stop listening to people who are saying there's one way to do this and it looks like this. You've got what it takes to be successful.
Well, and just this conversation itself, it just has so much more human connection than talking about hot leads, cold leads.
We're with the whole
conversation.
I tell people, because I come from obviously selling is the oxygen in your business. Do not misunderstand that. It is the lifeline. But what I always say to people is more important is you need to learn to create the demand. Nobody's talking about that. Well, in order to convert, you need to have demand. And it's not by chasing and thinking everybody's for you. It's like, no, this is what I stand for. This is the ecosystem I build. I like to do it in low tech ways because it's more fun. It's more fun for me. I like tech, but tech spins you up, but you've got to have the foundation first. Otherwise, you'll just go broke because you cannot buy your way into traffic. You cannot buy your way into competing on the words that big gurus are using because you just simply do not have the millions they do. But I can own my space in integrity. I can own what I stand for. And I know that the right people will resonate and come forward. And I know when I make the offer, I'm going to serve it at the very highest level because I care. And honestly, caring is a superpower. People don't want to feel like a number. And I think one of the big transitions, if I had an oracle, magic 8-ball, this would be what I would bet. Right now, people are seeking more intimacy, not less. More high touch, high result, care, compassion. Show me you're infallible. Show me you make mistakes. Oh, that's so relatable. I don't show the mistakes simply to say, look at me. I'm very intentional with, this is me Mach 10 hair on fire, and today I'm a freaking hot mess because my life imploded. My dad wants to buy a car and I had not planned that in my day. But guess what? This is when it matters. Because I am still going to solve that problem for my dad, but I'm going to stay in movement and commit to doing this because it was non-negotiable. And if I stayed in movement, my business doesn't have the peaks and valleys, and I don't take the foot off the gas. I choose my speed. But I also remember I must be the engine and I don't have to play by myself.
Yeah. And I like how you were, oh, go ahead.
I was just say, how can you serve?
Yes, exactly.
And get paid at the same time. Remember, getting paid is 2 things. It's trust that you can help get the result. So it's a borrowed confidence, and it is an appreciation of the value created. How can you create value? One of the biggest challenges, though, and I will be honest, it's seeing your own value. And I will tell a final story, but I didn't set out to mentor. I didn't set out to be a business coach because I watched people go get certified who never solved and lived in the world of business, charge people stupid amounts of money. And I was like, I don't want to be a part of that. I have worked in everything from startup to big business. I worked with a lot of different businesses, a lot of different industries, and I know business because of the background I came from, education and lived. What was different? Some people kept saying, how did you build at 1 hour a day? Can I buy you coffee? I'm like, sure, I like coffee. I like other things too, but coffee was often the invitation. And it was so simple. They're like, it sounds true. I'm like, it is true.
Yeah.
You can observe it in my business. I invite you, the first step, observe in my business. And then they're like, okay, well, I can't stay simplicity because I'm so distracted by the busy because I think I need to do more. Like
right.
Effort on the right things is more important than more. And effort on the wrong things just spins you in circles. And that's when people said, I might need more than 1 cup of coffee. I'll be like, okay. And they're like, I really value I value your time is what they would say. I'm like, okay, so I'd like to pay you. And I was like, what? That's how my business started. It was an exchange of value that they put a price tag on. Anytime I make an offer, if you're not making one, you do need to be paid as a business owner, but it is because they appreciate the value you've created. And if you can't see your value, work with somebody to help you see it, distill it, communicate it, and then have confidence in presenting it. That will be the accelerator.
Oh, that's so good. Thank you for sharing that final experience. Just serve, connect, become friends with strangers, and that will take you so far in your business. That momentum, keep going, keep making those connections. Don't take a break in the summer, because what you do then can set you up for the fall. So there's just so much wisdom that you shared today. I am so grateful that you could join us.
Thank you. Well, here's my tip. It's do take time out of your business, but recognize that is, it doesn't mean your business stops. So what can you do from a systems process and point of view? Like people say, it feels like you're always working. And I'm like, well, I was 10 days here, I was off, and 10 days here, and I need breathing time, and so do you.
Yeah.
But I don't give myself permission to say it's not working, so I'm going to run away and hope it just magically works better in September, because I have Christmas bills to pay. So I would say play and take time out of your business, but make sure you have a business to support it. Because things that you can do in the audience building piece, like that, speaking is the perfect example and why I love it. Because you can take time out of your business, but some things you've spoken on, publish while you're off on a vacation. To your audience, you're still actively in the scene. They see you. And when people often come in and work with me in my business, often they've said, I watched your business move in the last year and I didn't.
Oh.
They've been in my ecosystem for a while. They know who I am. They're like, I know you're credible, but I see the gap getting bigger. I'm like, well, what do you want to do with the gap? Tell me what it's like to work with you. Okay, let's talk about what do you see of value is my first question. Why are we here? I never get the same answer, interestingly enough, even though I'm very consistent on my message, what I do and how I do it. But what you hear is different because you're in the dark in a different place. But you've got an amazing business. Go after it. Please go make impact. And honestly, have fun. If you're not having fun, make changes. Thank you for having me here today. Really appreciate it.
Yes, and Christine would like to invite you to her free webinar. I believe you host it monthly.
I do. I host it twice a month for different time zones, and that's just a hint because I run a very global business.
Yes.
It's a free event. It is a live event. Please prioritize 1 hour of your day to grow your business, to be thinking about your business, not just in your business, because we're going to talk about those hard truths. How do you actually create the roadmap? Much of what I talked today, but you're not going to hear it and do it right away. Immerse yourself, come and spend 1 hour. And if you're there in the room, you'll have an invitation to come and have me go 50,000 feet. This is what I hear and see in your business. Where are the gaps? Now, what do you want to do with that? So you want to be there. You can find dates to do that on my website, and the upcoming dates will be posted. So come along if you can, make it a priority so you see great success the second half of your year.
You definitely want to be in that webinar, and we will put that link in the comments after we're done talking today so that you can sign up and not miss the next date. Christine, you are just brilliant. I love how you talk about business and just simplify it. So I think no matter where you're at in a business, whether you're just getting started or you've been doing a long time, everybody can learn from you. So thank you so much for sharing with us today. I really appreciate it.
My pleasure. Absolutely fabulous to be here. Thank you, Laura. I really appreciate you for inviting me.
Yes, and have a wonderful day, everyone. And if you're catching this on a replay, you can put #replay in the comments and just put any questions that you want to ask Christine, because she's in our group, so
Yeah.
she can see those questions and she can reply. And again, we'll put that link to her webinar in the comments. And I hope you all have a fantastic rest of your day.
See ya.